I'm very, very, very pleased to be able to introduce you to someone who has trained thousands of salespeople in how to use social media to do social selling. In fact, he set up a company called Sales for Life dedicated to that purpose. Sales for Life uses crowdsourcing to gather all of the best ideas to provide you with the 4 big tips that we're going to be giving you today. So, ladies and gentlemen, would you please give a very, very big warm welcome to Mr. Jamie Shanks.
Lee, I greatly appreciate the warm welcome. I want to reiterate the point that Lee brought up. I want you to ask yourselves, because we're going to ask you this many times, are you a pest or are you an influencer? It's a fundamental question that you need to answer today. The reason that I'm here to bring you tactical tips, tricks, and tactics, not social media fluff. I want you to walk away today and be able to execute and drive more business using social than you've ever had before. Now, Lee brought up a great point. Who here, raise your hand, who here has read the Challenger sale? Red, black, white book. Okay? So I see like a third of the room. I want you to go on audibles.com, download that on your iPad right now, or go buy the book. It is the most important sales book written, in my opinion, in the 21st century because of this point. What was found in this book is that 57% of the buying process is done without you and I. The buyer is learning online, making informed decisions online, arming themselves to make informed decisions. I'll tell you a quick story. You probably hear from my accent, I'm a Canadian, and in the outs and abouts as they come along, in the city of Toronto, there are car dealerships that are beginning to remove sales reps from the dealership. Why? I bought a car this summer. I came printed out with the car I wanted, all ready to go. I walked into the dealership and said, build me that thing. That's what's happening right now. So what I'd like you to do is to think about how you're going to overcome that being a pest or influencer. Customers want immediate access to learning. They want information yesterday. They can reach out to their peer-to-peer network. They could start their search online. And your customer is crazy busy. Your customer, really difficult to get on the phone now. Your customer, getting them on via email, absolutely impossible. And we're going to reiterate that point in a moment. What I want you to understand is what they're looking for is their priorities to be solved today. The reality is, if you can't solve a problem for today, they're not interested in talking to you. Now, this is a statistics from the United States, so bear with me, anyone from the UK or APEC, but in the United States, all of you, the average American employee receives 147 emails a day, and you're deleting half of them. Mike, how many emails do you receive a day? You receive more than 150. Who's kidding who? The reality is that your decision makers are inundated with email, and some of your decision makers aren't even reading their own emails. So I want you to think of that impact. Now here's the problem. I'm going to tell you what the dead zone is, and then I'm going to ask you if you're in it today. The dead zone is that uncomfortable silence that you have when a buyer told you, call me back next week, I swear I'm going to send you the contract. But it's been 2 months. And you call and you email and leave voicemails, and you call and you email and you leave voicemails. Repeat the cycle. Who here right now is in the dead zone with a prospect right now? Raise your hand. Don't worry, your arms move past your elbows. You can do it. Raise your hands. Here's the reality. I'm in 15 of these at any given time. It's always happening. The definition of insanity is what? Repeating the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Just calling and emailing is not going to work. So here is the main result. With or without you, your buyer's learning. Your buyer's online. Your buyer's reaching out to their network. And what they're looking for is the easiest and most convenient source to the answer. They're looking for those people that can help them through their buying journey. And Forrester's statistics reiterates this point. 65% of deals are given to you and Thomson if you were the first one to be there on the onset of the beginning portion of when they're starting to investigate the answers to their deal. The first to the deal wins. And so one of the tips I'm going to give you today, there are 4 of them, by the way. One of the tips I'm going to give you is job change alerts. I'm going to teach you to see when any buyer leaves one of your clients or a prospect gets, or a new decision maker gets hired at one of your prospects. You'll have all of that information. But remember that statistic, being first. And of course, Google, who believes that everybody lives on Google, 92% of buyers are starting their journey online. We do it in our personal lives. You guys have new iPads in front of you. You've probably been on Google this morning. That's how we learn today. So if your buyer is learning online and your buyer is doing due diligence, this is the scary proposition. This is what they're coming to. Lee just mentioned 5-figure deals. He mentioned 6-figure deals. He mentioned $250,000. Okay? I want you to think about this. $250,000 is larger than the buyer's annual salary. So, for 2 months you've been selling them, teaching them, helping them, and they're about to make a decision. But they need to decide and do due diligence on you because you're the ones giving them the advice. They have to think to themselves, is the advice I'm getting sound? Where is the only place they could do due diligence on you? That's LinkedIn. Where do they go? They go to LinkedIn and they come across your profile. And the first person they see is the one on the left. This is a scary proposition because on your profile, you're a quota crusher. You did 130% of plan last year. Your territory is the New England states, and you made President's Club last year. I want you to be the buyer. You're a VP of marketing, reading this going, what? How does this help me? This doesn't help me through this buying journey. You've just showed me that you're the greatest salesperson that ever lived. The second person is even scarier. The second person is Mr. or Mrs. Incognito. And I want you to think about this. I'm about to spend $250,000 with you. I come onto LinkedIn. I check your profile, and you're a ghost. No photo, barely a headline, no job description, no information. You're not sharing content. I think to myself, how do you really know what you're talking about? You aren't proving that you know what you're talking about. That is scary to a buyer.